A Thing of Beauty is written by the poet John Keats. John Keats uh, is one of the poets amongst the romantic writers of 19th century. Now, this wave of romanticism starts because of the birth of industrialization. Okay, what happened in 19th century England? After industrialization, there were many people who rebelled against the kind of life that it offered. Okay, the life that the factory work offered, and the lack of leisure and repose, and moving away from nature. The birth of later on, of course, the train and things like that, everything that came up because of industrialization. There were many people who resisted this change. Okay, and amongst them are all these poets like William Wordsworth, P.B. Shelley. You've done P.B. Shelley, I think, in class 10th. William Wordsworth, I'm sure you've read Daffodils, and this one, John Keats. And there were there are other poets who were really famous amongst these other poets. In fact, even in not just in literature, even in visual arts, especially the paintings, like in Italy or in England, there were people who painted only nature in their paintings to showcase escapism in the sense that they wanted to escape from the actual reality back into the repose or the calm that nature offered, that nature could offer, the quiet or the leisure that people really missed. So they brought it back into their artwork. Okay, so this poem, A Thing of Beauty, is written by John Keats. A thing of beauty is a joy forever. Its loveliness increases. It will never pass into nothingness. So there are actually four sections of the same poem. Okay, so the first section deals in talking about how the thing of beauty helps us. That is the first 8 lines. The next 5 lines talks about the problems of the real world that we face every other day. The third section, which begins further unto the 6th last line, gives us examples of all these natural things which provide us with calm and quietness and happiness. And the last 5 lines actually talk about the grandeur of martyrs. Okay, martyrs are people who have given their lives for a cause for other people. Okay, so the first section tells you that a thing of beauty is something which is eternal, which brings about eternal joy. It will never end. Also, at the same time, I want to remind you, I think I've given that in notes also when we were writing in the regular classes, that John Keats also had said once that beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Okay, so it is your perspective, your way of thinking, your choice that determines whether you consider a person, a thing to be beautiful or not. Okay, so you are making a value judgment when you say something is beautiful or something is ugly. Okay, what may be good for you, what may be considered good by you, may not be considered good by other people. Okay, so it's a value judgment in the first place, beauty itself. Of course, there are conventional parameters that we have, like we say that rose is the most beautiful of flowers. But then there are people who are ready to debate that. They consider other flowers to be more beautiful than the rose itself. Okay, so a thing of beauty is a joy forever. So a beautiful thing, something that you consider beauty, you derive pleasure out of it. You derive happiness out of it. And this happiness only increases by leaps and bounds. It never passes into nothingness. So this is eternal joy that you get from a beautiful thing. But will keep a bower quiet for us. So now in the 4th line we come to know, because he started off on a larger base, now he is trying to limit himself down, because John Keats considers nature as the most beautiful aspect of life, or nature as the most beautiful thing on this earth. So now he started talking about a bower. What is a bower? It's a shady place offered by trees. So a bower quiet for us. So the nature offers, the shade, the calmness. There can be a question on what nature offers, or what a beautiful thing offers. So a bower quiet for us, that's the first thing. And a sleep. Sleep is the second thing. Full of sweet dreams and health and quiet breathing. So what do we get? A bower which is full of calmness. Because of calmness, we get sleep. Because of good sleep, we have sweet dreams. And because of all these things, it results into good health and quiet breathing. So indirectly, we are getting good health because of being in contact with or being in communication with a natural or naturally beautiful thing. Therefore, on every morrow are we reading. So on every day, morrow is day, are we reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. We are knitting, we are kind of knitting a band, a flowery band, a band made of, made from nature, of course, which has a lot of flowers in it, to bind us to the earth. So we are getting more entangled with the earth. We are getting more connected to the earth. Therefore, on every morrow, are we reading a flowery band to bind us to the earth. Now the second section starts from here about the problems in the world. Spite of despondence, of inhuman dearth. So, you may have to face depression or sadness on this earth. Of the inhuman dearth, lack of human values. Okay, even though we are human people, but not many people are humane. Okay, so the lack of human values, of noble natures, of those people who are actually very noble at heart, of the gloomy days, of the sad days that you have to face, of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways. So unhealthy and over-darkened ways, you may have to come across people who are using you for their advantage, who are harming you for their advantage or for their happiness or whatever it is. Of all the unhealthy and over-darkened ways made for us searching. But all these things, whether it be failures, whether it be bad people, whether it be, lack of good human values, whatever cruelty you are facing, all of this happens for a reason. And the reason is for searching. And what is the searching? Soul searching. Introspection. Okay. And where can you introspect or meditate? Okay. So the answer is given further. How can you search yourself? How can you soul search yourself? Or how can you introspect deep inside yourself? Made for us searching. Yes, in spite of all, some shape of beauty moves away the pall. Pall is cloud. So in spite of all these cruel or bad things in life, some shape of beauty will move away the cloud, or will move away your doubts or the mists or the the confusions. And what are these beautiful things? From our dark spirits. From our dark spirits, in the sense, all of us undergo sorrows, we undergo failures, a lot of things, bad things in our life. But it is your decision finally, whether you want to become a part of the world, quote unquote world, of course, or you want to be pure inside. So how can you be pure? By introspecting, or by, soul searching. Such the sun. So now begins the examples. For the next 4 to 5 lines, there are only examples. Such the sun, the moon, trees old and young. So, you can think about and spend time with the sun, the moon, old and young trees. Sprouting a shady boon. So these trees are sprouting a shady boon. Shade, which is a blessing. Boon is a blessing. For simple sheep, even animals like sheep, they are full of beauty. And such are daffodils. Okay, and the same kind of happiness or joy you can also find in flowers like daffodils, with the green world they live in. Okay, so not just the flowers alone, but their communion with the green world. Okay, the greenery around the park, the garden, wherever it is. And clear rills. Rills is stream. So John Keats is actually enlisting to us what are the different forms of nature. Clear rills, clear streams. So when they are flowing, these streams, when they are flowing, you can look through them. They are transparent. Okay, and clear rills that for themselves a cooling covert make. So that for themselves a cooling covert make. Cooling covert in the first place is alliteration. So these rills, while they are flowing, they are providing a kind of cover against the hot summer season by cooling the environment. That for themselves a cooling covert make against the hot season. So against the hot season, these streams are actually providing you with coolness. Okay, the mid forest break. Now in between the forest, in the middle of the forest, now there are thick mass of ferns. Okay, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. Rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. There are numerous musk rose which have bloomed inside these ferns. So it must be a really beautiful scenery. The mid forest break, rich with a sprinkling of fair musk rose blooms. So of a light color, these musk rose that have bloomed there, which are numerous in numbers. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms. So now the last section starts off. So after giving so many examples of beautiful things of nature, John Keats comes down to talking about these people, the martyrs who have died for a cause. And such too is the grandeur of the dooms, the grandeur, the splendor, the greatness, or the grandness, okay, of the dooms of people who have died. And who are these people? We have imagined for the mighty dead all lovely tales that we have heard or read. So all these tales that we have heard or read about these people in some books or in newspapers, wherever we have read about these people who have died for the nation, died for a cause, died for humanity. And we have heard all these kinds of tales, which is again of the same joy and happiness it provides to us, because through these tales we come to realize that there is hope in humanity. Okay, there is hope in humanity. There are people, however few they may be, but there are people who care for humanity, for good causes, okay, for nations, like we have our own defense service people. Okay, all lovely tales that we have heard or read, an endless fountain of immortal drink. So all these tales are what? They are endless fountains. So the very imagery of fountain, we come to see, it's like it's going to quench your thirst. It's going to provide you hope by quenching your thirst against the cruelty of the world. That the thirst that you've developed is going to be quenched because of this fountain, which is endless, of immortal drink, the drink which is going to make your thoughts immortal, pouring unto us from the heaven's brink. And where is this pouring to us from? This is coming down straight from the heaven's brink. Brink is the edge, so it's like a scene falling off from the top of the, let's say, the building or something. So heaven, let's say we are imagining heaven as, let's say, the top floor or something. From there, like a liquid, it's flowing down, pouring to us, unto us from the heaven's brink. The entire idea of talking about heaven can have two meanings here. One, heaven because these people are dead. The second thing, heavenly, because these people were obviously they were good souls. Also the fact that the goodness in them, or the goodness in nature, all of it is linked with God, because God is the ultimate good. Okay, that is it for now. Please let me know if there are any problems or questions.